Today on The Grid, our topic is how to be more creative in 2020. Our special in-studio guest today is photographer and author Mark Silber. Kuna, the rocket man, real man, spaceman, pizza delivery man is back. I'm wearing a spiffy black ball cap, and it's the first show of the year, so what could possibly go wrong? And best of all, it all starts in just 60 seconds. The Grid is brought to you by Tamron. Check out their 28 to 75 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's for Sony full-frame mirrorless. It's awesome. Go to tamron-usa.com.
And ProPhoto, the light shaping company. Check out the ProPhoto B1X, powered all the right places. Go to prophoto.com/US.
And Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of 2020 of The Grid. Glad to have you guys here. I'm Scott Kelby, and I am joined by two auspicious, audacious men. To my left, our very special guest in the studio is photographer and author Mark Silber, his third time on The Grid. Welcome back.
Scott, I'm so
good to have you here.
To be here, yeah.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, good to have you.
And it's a perfect topic for today, but we also have with us, as always, the co-host of the show, the real rocket man, Mr. Erik Kuna. Welcome back.
Hey Scott, how's it going?
Man, you got to bring some more energy than that.
We're supposed to sing Rocket Man.
Yeah, we're supposed to sing Kuna Man.
Well, we've had such a break here. It's been like weeks of not doing.
Yeah,
it's I'm not
weird.
Used to doing this.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
And it's a whole new decade.
It is a whole new. It is. And you shot a rocket launch here just the other day.
I did. We had a SpaceX launch where they were launching 60 more of their Starlink satellites.
Can you show us any pictures real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Let's see. So. Here we go.
He is the rocket man.
Let's see what we got.
I don't know if he's got them, but
let's see if we
should on the thing he told me to connect to.
Let's see.
We'll see.
I don't see any. Well, we'll just describe them.
Ooh, there we go.
Oh no, that's his desktop. That's close.
That's SpaceX.
That's close. Hang
Let's
on.
see. Maybe I got to connect some other way.
Well, while we're waiting, let's talk about our topic today.
Yeah.
So our topic today is how to become more creative in 2020. This is something that people struggle with a lot, and I saw a lot of comments towards the end of the year of people saying, you know, I really want to do new things next year. I want to think in new ways, and I want to break out of my box of doing the same thing. I think it's very easy for photographers to get into a rut of shooting the same thing.
It really, you plagiarize yourself. That's what we call it. It is. You plagiarize yourself. How many times do I need to take this sunburst, It's easy, but you do it over and over again. You got to do something different, right?
And that's what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
But while we have some ideas that I hope will help you to be more creative in 2020, we also want to hear your comments. So if you guys that are watching, let us know the things that you've got, some ideas that you have that you do to kind of get your juices going.
Your mojo working.
Your mojo working. So are we having any luck on getting your rocket shots? Yes. Oh, okay, we're good. So here we go. Woo, look at that.
Here's one. And speaking of that, that's one of the things that is interesting with being creative. I mean, obviously, I do a lot of this stuff for media outlets and agencies. So I have assignments. So sometimes I'm having to shoot certain shots because it's like, hey, we need you to get this. But then I always make sure in this scenario that I always have one or two shots that are something that I'm trying completely new, something totally different, something nobody else is doing. But here's a shot. Interesting part about this one is we had this little flame out on the side. You could see in the flame there, which isn't typical right there. So that was really kind of cool that you captured that moment. Then there's just the typical shot of the rocket lifting off.
I really do like that shot though.
This is the kind of stuff that I get asked, do this. But then I kind of venturing out. So this is one where I'm venturing out. So this is a different shot. And people will look at this and go, well, yeah, but it looks like the others. But what it is you can see the rocket isn't moving yet. And the rocket is actually lit by the lights on the pad. And I'm still getting an exposure on the rocket. So it's kind of like
do they turn the lights out? Do they?
No, the lights are always on.
Okay.
But what happens is usually because the rocket is so bright, it's just drowning out the other one. So knowing about your exposures, it's going to drown out those exposures. So this is one where I'm getting, this is basically about 0.4 of a second after ignition. So it's like right when that flame just starts boiling out of the flame trench, I'm kind of getting that split second at night, which, a lot of people aren't doing this. And that's where I'm like, well, I kind of want to experiment with it. So I've been kind of...
Wait, can you go back to that shot? First off, tell me Flame Trench wouldn't be a great name for a band.
It would. It'd be
Come on, Mark. Are you with me?
Flame Trench.
Flame Trench.
Pick it right now,
Yeah.
Scott.
But can I ask you a question about the shot, Erik?
Yes.
So I know that like you're doing this for reportage and you can't, edit the photo heavily and all. But those are wires?
Those are. So basically what happens around the pad is there's a network of, you see those tall, well, actually you see one of them in the background. They're little lightning rods. That's actually what that is, a lightning rod.
Those are lightning rods.
So you see that white thing, I can't put my cursor on it, but that white thing, that in the middle there is a lightning rod. There's 4 of them. In fact, if I go to the next shot, you'll see there's the 4 lightning rods around, and you see those wires? Those are all connected there to disperse lightning away from the rocket. When you're loading a rocket with exploding stuff. I mean, it's
called
basically like
explodey stuff.
Yeah, explodey
Are they
stuff.
shooting off rockets when there's a thunderstorm with lightning? Or?
Well, they not shooting them off because they don't.
Right.
But we live in Florida, lightning capital.
So it can happen anytime.
It can happen anytime. So it could be like right before the launch when they're fueling. So all the pads are going to have those.
I get it.
Yeah, but so Erik, go back to the one before that.
Yes.
Can't we erase those? Like you wouldn't do it for the ones that you turn in.
I can.
No,
I can.
No, I mean for you.
For me.
Yeah, I mean like we're showing it on the grid.
And I have.
Yeah.
I mean, but of course,
looks like
these
there's
are the ones that
scratches
I've
in
been.
the negative.
These are the
Yeah,
ones that I set
looks like
off.
there's scratches in the negative.
Yeah.
You're showing your age, Mr. Silber.
I mean, well, negatives are cool still.
Yeah. So you can see right there. That's the grid above them. This is another one where I was trying that same ignition shot from a different angle. You can see again the rocket is lit up. Usually the rocket is just dark up at the top, and that's where you're getting that. So
there's a ton of light coming out of that, isn't there?
Ooh, I like that
I mean,
one.
it's just.
But
so
see,
that's that same camera angle, so you can see like that's this, and I've got it at a different crop than this.
Okay, but see that shot? I really, really like that shot. But the wires are killing it for me.
Well, I can take the wires out real quick with a tool called Photoshop. But,
wait a minute, what?
But
there's a little thing you can use.
can't for when I send them
off. Of course,
off.
we know that.
Because
we're not talking.
every other person's shot in the world will have wires
We're
in
not
it.
talking about that.
How
We're
come
talking
his don't
about
have
you
wires?
showing them.
Hey, next week I'll have a shot with the wires out of it so you can see it.
Thank you very much.
But anyways, got to experiment with some more. That's the rocket up in the stratosphere, kind of doing the nebula thing. And then I got to experiment, or this is where I'm kind of trying to push outside, and I guess I can't. Video is not supported.
You can show it in the library
developer,
module.
So I got to flip over to the library module.
Hey.
And it won't play back. There it is.
There we go.
But getting to experiment with pad video. So this is something new, actually shooting video.
That's actually a fountain, Erik.
Yep. But really cool stuff where you're able to
How
kind
is
of
it panning?
Well, this is actually an Instagram crop. So what's interesting is we've kind of come up with new ways of showing stuff on different mediums. So I can take a 1080 wide shot. It's freezing up there on us.
Oh, and then you're just cropping it.
I'm actually panning and cropping across the 1080 shot. So kind of using a new technique to communicate
like
in the world that we're in nowadays, where people are looking at it like that. Where I could do the same thing where I have.
Now, was that logo there when you on the pad?
Yes, that logo was on the
pad. What is that logo?
No, that's actually the agency that I was shooting it for.
Oh, okay.
So they just make me watermark them because
that's
everybody
really cool.
tries to steal video nowadays.
Yeah, I know.
Dude,
the way that it panned over, that was really cool.
That was pretty cool.
So you can see, that's what it would be.
So there's your full frame right there.
You'd have a full frame like that, but then you could just pan across.
All right.
So really just cool stuff. I got to experiment with day to night here. We're starting to get into, letting the sun kind of fall into the frame behind the rocket, knew that would kind of come down through there, and then just kind of, just fall on the rocket into night, and transition of time.
Wow.
So,
look at that.
And what's cool about this, again, is video, photography, all that stuff, exposures don't change. Once you know this stuff, it applies to both. It's really just the same techniques.
Yeah.
So, very cool stuff.
That's cool. Why don't you put a fake Milky Way in there? Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
hey,
there you go.
we're going to take one more. We got a topic today, believe it or not, but we got a question from Cheeky Nando all the way from Lisbon, Portugal. Hello, Cheeky Nando. Happy New Year. The question for Erik is, how many cameras did you set up for that launch?
So I had 4 still cameras.
Yeah.
And then 2 video cameras.
So 6 cameras altogether.
And then I had a
Pretty
video
easy.
camera and a still camera with me on the distance shots. So
You were monitoring
Yes.
6 cameras.
Yeah.
not monitoring. I mean, the other ones are triggering on the pad by the brain that I put into them. I told them what to do.
Smart.
So we call
brained
those.
them.
That's a smart thing to do.
Our pad cameras are like autonomous capture units.
Just
Right.
say it. They're robots stealing our jobs, Eric.
They're robots
Just say
stealing
it.
our jobs.
They're robots
They're
stealing our jobs.
stealing the photographer's
okay,
job.
our
There you
topic, how to be more creative in 2020. Mark, start us off, buddy. Give me some ideas.
Boy, no runway here.
Okay, I'll glide you into it.
Please.
Here we go. Tower.
Okay, here we are. That was a nice takeoff.
Thank you.
You know how to be more creative. First of all, you got to decide that you are going to be more creative. It sounds so simple, but a lot of us just keep going. We were saying that, keep going in the same rut, maybe plagiarizing yourself. But there's a couple of key tools that I like to fall back on. And one of them is visualization. This is something that Ansel Adams said the whole key to a photograph is that you visualize it before you press the shutter. But it turns out that visualization follows any art form. When you're writing a song or you're arranging a song, you first visualize it, what instruments you want to have come in, when, and so forth. Well, you can visualize your whole genre. You can decide, just like Erik, you're shooting what you have to shoot for the client, but then you're also visualizing and putting in those other shots that you want to get. That adds that element of creativity. And I think the first thing we can all do is just make sure that we don't just go out and press shutters. We're putting the picture there ahead of time. We're thinking, well, what do I really want to do that will turn this on its head? That make it
I
look
have a
different.
problem with that, though.
Go for it.
My problem with that is I have that problem. Like I get there.
What do I visualize?
I can visualize a very vague thing. I don't see a very clear picture. Like I get there and I'm like, oh, I kind of know what I want to do. But you and Erik seem to have a very well-defined, this is what I want to do to change this. But my issue is I don't have that. Mine's very foggy.
The visualization ability.
Yeah, my visualization ability, I think, must be lower than your average person.
Well, there's some remedies for that, believe it or not.
Yeah.
One of them, and I'm sure you already do this, but is to look at other art and to see how did that artist do it. I don't mean just photography.
Right.
Painting, classical painting. This is something Joey L., for instance, really dove into the classical artists. And he looked at how they framed, a painting is a frame, right?
Right.
So how do they use that frame? How do they light their subjects? How is the sky lit? These really moody clouds and that sort of thing. So then you've kind of got that in your visual library. And when you go out, you can start sort of plugging those in and see if they fit. But you probably do a lot of that already, right?
I do one part of it, and it was actually one of the things I was going to talk about today was that when people get stuck in a creative rut, what I do is I go look at other photographers' work. Now, I don't go look at painters' work. I look at photographers' work. But for one thing, I find it very inspiring.
Yes.
Like when I go look at, I find like if I'm in a rut with my photography, going and looking at other great photos makes me want to photograph.
Exactly.
So I think it's inspirational to look at other, but also it does give you ideas. But honestly, Mark, I struggle with the initial idea thing.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why I'm always so impressed with Joe McNally. Because Joe will come up with a whole idea from the very beginning. He'll say, all right, I want to go in the desert and I want some elephants and I want a showgirl, and he comes up with this whole thing, and then he's got Linda Mastro, who's an amazing partner with him, who goes and makes all these things happen. But it grew from Joe's idea. I sit there and go, I see Joe's idea and go, man, that's really great.
That
I
is
wish
super
why
cool.
Why can't I come up with anything like that? I literally can't. And so my thing has become, my wife is really creative, so we work together a lot as a team.
Yeah.
Like as a team together, we do a lot of projects, and she's really great at it. She goes to the scene and she's like, let's do this, let's do that. I got a story list, and I'm like, really? Because I mean, it frees me just to focus on the camera and the light.
Maybe she's your visualizer.
I think she is my visualizer, because I'm telling you, I'm just not any good at it.
That's a good thing. I mean, you just
That's
got to kind
not
of
a
find
bad
that
thing.
if you don't. But another tool, like in that sense, is because I'm looking down my list, is do you a lot of times, like when you're actually going to plan or going to kind of pre-visualize, just take some time to like just sit and think, or take a walk and think, and actually just take some time to like clear your mind of the other stuff and say, what am I trying to communicate here? What am I trying to do? Things that I can, like.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
No.
I don't do a lot of things that you're supposed to do.
But that's one of the things
These
that
are good tools.
That's a tool that I use a lot of times, to just kind of just take in. And sometimes you can get quicker at this, where you can, if I got 15 minutes of downtime, I can go, oh, I'm just going to think of that's how it came to me. Like, look at, why can't we get an exposed ignition shot? Like, why can't we get those? And then I started going, well, it would be cool to see that. It would be cool to see that. And then I'm like, okay, well, and that goes to another one that I think is a big one with creativity that I get to later. But I think just equipping yourself with that time to kind of like just sit down and think. Because if you're not like uber creative, like where your wife, where she can just walk into a scene and go, do this, you have to overcompensate.
You have to put those
by
tools
putting in those tools.
Yeah.
It's like you have to overcompensate.
And you were telling me you do that with music, essentially. You take the voice track and then
It's easier for me with music.
Okay, so you're doing it with music. Now you just need to translate that over to photography, because you're doing that where you're putting those layers of instruments in there. You have to have some visualization for that, right?
Well, I do a lot of listening.
Okay.
So when it comes to music, let's say because one of the things we were talking earlier was I have a small studio at my house, and I try to recreate 70s and 80s classic rock songs, but I want them to sound like the real thing. I don't want them to sound like a karaoke version. So I go to YouTube, I pull down the actual vocals, and then I play all the instruments. But I listen to the original again and again, like I'm driving in my car and I keep listening to how it's done. But for some reason, when it comes to photography, now I could look at somebody else's photo, and maybe that's what my thing is. Maybe the reason why I don't write a lot of original songs, and instead I'm doing these
Other people's
covers,
songs,
is because I can look at what somebody else did and recreate it.
Yeah.
Like I could look at Joe McNally's thing and go, oh yeah, I should go to the desert, I should get some elephants, but I can't think.
Right.
My problem is it's a different problem than with music.
Yeah.
With music, I have almost, here's the sheet of music, and then I'm going to recreate it. My problem is when I'm stuck and looking at an empty sheet of music, I don't know what to do. Same thing with photography. I don't have a roadmap. And so that's why I only had one thing on my list to talk about for this how to be more creative, which I was going to lean on Mark and Erik, because I know they have a lot of them. But I struggle with coming up with a great idea.
Yeah.
And now, once somebody else has the idea, I can add like pieces to it. But like, in other words, if someone came to me, like did you see the movie with Elton John, the Elton John movie, Rocket Man?
Yeah,
Rocket Man, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, when Bernie Taupin, did you see Bernie Taupin was on the Golden Globes?
Yeah.
I've never seen Bernie
Yeah,
Taupin. He
it's
came out,
amazing.
the whole place gave him a standing
Yeah.
ovation. I mean, Elton John's there, and he's obviously a
Yeah.
legend. But Bernie Taupin,
is the guy behind the whole thing.
when you see that movie, you realize
Yeah.
how incredibly important. But going
It
to
was
the movie,
cool. After seeing the movie, to see that happened. Yeah.
So in the movie, Bernie Taupin writes these incredible lyrics,
Yeah.
like to "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," and he gives them to Elton.
and Elton put the music.
And
to
Elton
it.
puts the music to
Yeah.
it. But the lyrics are written. I mean, when Elton sits down, he sees, when are you going to come down? When are you going to land?
Yeah.
He's
Those
got
incredible lyrics.
incredible lyrics. And they were a magical pairing,
Yeah.
because he could come up with the chords. So picture me without Bernie Taupin.
Well,
Okay,
but that's where
It's just me
that's where
sitting at
what
the piano.
That's what you're saying is, like, at those moments, if you know that, you've got to play to that, right? And that's where you have to like put people into your lives that will like we're talking about with your wife. I mean, that's a good tool. That's a good tool to equip yourself with, is to have people that you can team up with in your lives. If you know, I'm good at execution. I am good at taking a vision and making it come alive.
Yeah, I can do that part.
Then just team up with people, and that's what
I've
Elton
done.
John.
Yeah.
He wasn't a writer,
Yeah.
but he could,
It's
once
a
he got the
collaborative-
words, he could make it into this beautiful song, right?
Yeah.
So you got to just team up with
Okay,
the right people.
well
That's
then I'm
one of the
happy I
things.
teamed up with Calibre because
Yeah.
she has such great vision.
that's one
and
thing
so,
you could do.
It's so effortless for her, and it's so hard for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was just at lunch. I got 14 things there.
Oh,
Can I read something out of this?
yes, Mark's going to read
yeah.
something. Mark will.
Just
and
happen,
now,
just
a
happen to
dra-
have this book.
And now a dramatic reading.
But this might help, Scott. Listen
All
to
right.
this. This is from Pablo Picasso.
Apparently, this is now just a therapy session for me.
It is. We're focused on you,
Okay,
Scott.
we're focused on Scott today.
Okay, so listen to this. This could help, and this could give you a tool here. He says the artist is a receptacle for emotions that come from all over the place, from the sky, from the earth, from a scrap of paper, from a passing shape, from a spider's web. Pablo Picasso. And if you look at how there's actually an incredible documentary book by David Douglas Duncan, who was a war photographer who spent 25 years photographing Picasso. And you can actually see his inspirational process. So what he's saying there is exactly what he does. He looks and something triggers, and all of a sudden he takes that one thing and runs with it. But I'll give you another tool to add to it.
I could use another one.
Okay, so we can combine these tools because there's
Okay.
there's various creative tools that you use together, just like
Yeah.
with Photoshop, Lightroom. So Brian Wilson, I just at the end of reading his autobiography, incredible genius, had to overcome all sorts of barriers. But one of the things he did,
Hey, he's not a photographer. He's from the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, right?
that's right, that Brian Wilson, yes, Good Vibrations.
Good Vibrations,
Yeah,
Brian Wilson.
Pet sounds. But one of the things he did when he was a teenager is he would listen to songs like Be My Baby, Phil Spector. He was just, this is the song I love. He listened to it and he did what you do. He deconstructed it. And then he went back and taught his brothers how to sing those harmonies. Be My Baby wasn't one of their hit songs, but they used that same fundamental to then build other songs with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think going back to that point of looking at other photographers, looking at art, getting that inspiration, write those little flashes down. And then when you go out on your next photo shoot, try out some of those things. Try them out just like you do with
Yep.
the guitar,
Absolutely.
right?
I don't have a photo shoot till tomorrow.
Okay, well,
Now I'm going to have to try it out.
Right after this, we can go out and do some shooting.
All right.
There you go.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to do some shout outs. We've got lots of people tuning in from all over today. And
Awesome.
we've got some more ideas. I actually have the second half of my idea. So, woo!
Woohoo!
So that's coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back. Scott Kelby here, and I'm here with my dear friend, travel photographer Rick Salmon. Rick, I got a pop quiz for you.
Go ahead, I'm ready.
All right, let's talk about scary things when we're
Yeah.
shooting travel photography. Is it scary to shoot monuments?
No,
Is it scary to shoot buildings?
not at all.
Is it scary to shoot coliseums or cathedrals?
Absolutely not.
What are people scared about in travel photography?
Well, I found after traveling to 100 countries, 100 different countries, they're afraid to photograph people.
Absolutely, and so many people come back from their travels, and what they have is buildings and bridges and canals, and there's no one that lives there. No one lives there. All they see is other tourists in their pictures. What if you were able to capture amazing pictures of the locals? What if you could make beautiful portraits and everyone looks amazing and you've got great light and great posing? How do you even get to talk to these people? Are we going to tell them how?
We're going to tell them that. We're going to cover accessories. We're going to cover window light, shooting indoors, outdoors, and bright light and low light. Everything that you need to make a good picture the next time you go traveling.
But this is not just camera settings and stuff.
Yeah.
What we really focus on is how to get people to let you photograph them, how to get great setup shots, how to do all these things. And you look at these amazing pictures that other people are getting, you're like, I'll never get a shot like that. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And we're going to show you how in our brand new class, it's a travel photography class on getting great portraits of the locals. And it's only found one place, right here at Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey everybody, we're back. Scott Kelby here with our in-studio guest Mark Silber, and Erik Kuna, the Rocket Man, is with us. We are talking about how to be more creative in 2020. Just a couple of things real quick, housekeeping stuff before we get going. My seminar tour is kicking off again. I wrapped it up last year in December, but I've got 4 cities lined up for my first 4 stops: Houston, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. Can't wait to get back out there. It's my the ultimate photography crash course is what it's called. Go to Kelby One Live, and I hope to see you in one of those cities starting in February, and then in March, I believe it's LA. So hope we'll see you out there. Also, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. In the Kelby One forums, one of our members mentioned in the forums in our community, somebody mentioned, hey, I know you talk a lot about Adobe Portfolio, and I went and I set up one. They're loving our Adobe Portfolio, but they went and watched my class, and they're not loving my class on Adobe Portfolio. And the reason is, I did not know this. The class that I did, it feels so fresh like I just did it, was from 2016. They have in December, they entirely changed the interface for it. Right. So next week, I'm doing a brand new class on Adobe Portfolio. Thank you, Kelby One members, for pointing that out. So I'm gonna go and record it next week. And tomorrow, I'm actually recording an interesting course.
Yeah, and even on your Adobe Portfolio thing, I think what people don't realize, and that's where a lot of people said in the community, and even over the years of using the course, is, wow, I already have this. And then they realize they're paying for something else. And I've had maybe dozens of members who have said that quote of, I actually paid for my Kelby One membership by realizing I could switch my portfolio off of something that I was paying hundreds of dollars for.
Yeah, somebody said I save $50 a month by doing this. So anyway, but I'm recording a new one. I've started to put it together already. I'm excited about where it's going. I think it'll be great and easy. I'm going to really make it easy. I think even easier than the other course. And they've made the interface better, and there's things that were lacking from before that are there now.
They have made it a lot better.
Tomorrow, I'm doing a very interesting class. So tomorrow, my class, I'm shooting a class on natural light portraiture, just using the iPhone.
That's cool.
Just the iPhone.
Wow.
So this is for people who the iPhone is their camera.
Yeah.
And so it is basically not so much about the iPhone, but more about whatever camera you have, how to take great pictures. But I will only be shooting with the iPhone 11 Pro. So you don't have to have the iPhone 11 Pro. You can have another iPhone. But the iPhone 11 Pro has made such I don't think people that don't have it, a leap. It's the biggest leap I've ever seen in quality in a phone between the iPhone X or the XS and the 11. It is a staggering leap of quality. I remember Erik and I went to a concert a few weeks ago. We're sitting side by side, and I'm shooting my iPhone X. He's shooting his iPhone 11 Pro, and I'm looking at my screen. We have the same size screen, everything. I look at it, and I'm going, he looks like he's shooting with a DSLR, and I look like I'm shooting with a phone. Yep. And it's like, it was night and day different. I mean, it is made, and it's because of this computational photography stuff that they're doing. So tomorrow I'm taking a class. So if you are a serious iPhone photographer, I got a class for you on shooting portraits with nothing but the iPhone.
And I think what's really cool about the iPhone, or where we're going with photography, is this topic. This will be the relevant topic in the future.
It is.
And that's where I can't wait for it. And this is why I can't wait for it. I spend, when I go out shooting, I'm kind of known as it happened to me just this last, hours spending talking to people because they know, oh, you can go ask Erik about it. He'll explain it to you. You know, a lot of people don't want to explain their settings. A lot of people don't want to explain what they're doing. But I love to talk about that stuff. But I would love to get to that point where we don't have to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where the iPhone is getting. And that's what I love about it, is we're getting to the point where auto is actually auto. Like, what you see is what you get. And now it's all about the creativity, and it's nothing about the setting.
Right.
And that really, really leads me to one of the things that I was kind of talking about. We want to get more creative, and one of the things I have here, number 2, is know your gear.
Yeah.
You really have to. You really have to know your gear, because what you have to do is take your gear out of the equation. You actually have to get so good that you know how your camera is going to work, and that doesn't mean that you always use manual mode.
Right.
And that's what I find so many, I shoot with them all the time.
Yeah.
And they're in manual mode and they're wondering why my shot's so much better. And they're wondering why it's so much, what's your secret? What's your thing? And it's like, because you're in manual mode and I'm in aperture priority.
Yeah, you're messing with settings.
You're messing with settings.
To get it right.
I don't have to.
Right.
And they're fighting, and then they started experimenting with it, and they're going, "Wow. Well, I was told that unless I'm not a photographer until I switch to manual mode. Like I'm fine with you learning manual mode, and I think that you should learn manual mode because I think that will help you. But knowing your gear and knowing how to remove the gear out of the equation to where you know the settings, it's automatic, it's there, right. It's you just know. And when you do that, I guarantee you will get more creative, but you'll actually find yourself, I'm telling you, you'll find yourself not shooting in manual mode a lot of times.
You know, the other
when
part
you know
of that,
your gear.
Absolutely. And the other part of that, Erik, is Bob Holmes, who I've interviewed many times, National Geographic photographer, 14-time winner of the Travel Award of the Year. You know, his point, I mentioned this to you guys, don't let the camera get in the way of your photography.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is that
absolutely.
a great quote? That is an incredible quote. Don't let the camera gear get in the way of your photography. That is great.
It will. If you are stumbling around and you're constantly thinking, what are my settings? You're not looking at your subject. You're not looking at the light.
It's a different part of your brain, right? The part of your brain that worries about camera settings is a different part of the brain that makes beautiful pictures.
It's like being a great chef. They're not thinking about, the exact ingredients, whatever. They're able to think with how this is all coming together and what does it taste like. But the other thing too that goes along with that is you have to know your camera so well that you can see what the camera sees. Because what our eyes seeing is going to be very different than your camera. And you have to know it well enough so that you know what this camera is going to record. And that just comes from practice.
Or where we're getting,
you
shoot with the iPhone,
and it's
what you see is what you get.
Exactly.
And that's
if you get there for sure.
You know what's interesting about Erik's journey? So Erik was an iPhone photographer first, because he used to shoot with your iPhone all the time.
All the time.
Then he went to DSLR photographer. Now I'm not talking about the rockets, but Erik started carrying a DSLR everywhere. He still has to use DSLR for rockets at least for another year.
We'll see.
Another year.
But now, when we go, Erik and I went to New York for Photo Plus, and we go different places. He's only taking his iPhone again.
Yep.
Well,
full circle.
Hey,
he's come full circle.
For one thing, it's with you all the time.
And you know what else? So if you ask people what started the craze of mirrorless, and it was simply this, because if you sell, what's the big advantage to mirrorless? People are like,
it's smaller.
There's no mirror.
Well,
smaller and
say
lighter.
Smaller and lighter, but then when they get into it, they're like, ooh, wait a minute.
But look at this.
Yeah, this is a mirrorless.
This is smaller and lighter.
Yeah.
You're already carrying a camera, and now you're going to carry another. Anyway, that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
This little attachment over Christmas. I don't know if I showed it to you.
No.
But I added 5 lenses to my iPhone right there with just that little attachment.
Dude.
What does it do? What do the lenses do?
2 macros, a telephoto, a fisheye, and a polarizer.
How's the telephoto?
It's good. It goes up to 4x now.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it actually is really good. But it just came out. I got it on Kickstarter. It's Shift Cam.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah,
bring it back.
All right, first, we want to say hi to some folks that are watching.
Yeah.
We have to. Can you bring those folks up? That's okay. There we go.
Okay.
So we got tons of people joining us all over the world.
That first one, Sean, I know you're going to mispronounce it. I'll say it for you.
I know Sean.
Did you know that one?
Sean from London. Yes, I know Sean. Okay. She was at Photoshop World.
Yes, she was.
Yes.
I wonder if it's the same Sean.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is.
Baltimore.
Yeah, we'll
Frank.
find out. And Frank is saying hey from Baltimore. We got Jerry saying hey to the Grid Nation. We got Cheeky Nando all the way from Portugal. Daniel's saying happy New Year to the Kelby One team. He's over in Switzerland. Let's see. We got Debbie saying happy New Year from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Carla from Kansas City, Missouri. We got Kathy from Larkspur, Colorado. We got Jackie saying hey all from Princeton. Happy New Year. Mayville, I guess. Maysville from Maysville. So maybe there you go. Jan B is saying very excited about this topic. Main goal for the next year. Jenny saying hi from Amsterdam. We got Yolanda from the Netherlands. Graham from Malta. Giovanni from Italy. We got people all over the world. We can just keep on going.
That's awesome.
So And we asked some comments here. So,
Yeah.
and that was an interesting one I saw that popped up. Is Jerry said that I just experienced that when I forgot my camera on a trip to Victoria, British Columbia. So I was forced to use my phone for photos. My entire focus was on composition.
There you go.
And I'm telling you, that's what it's interesting. Like it is an interesting thing that we're getting into here.
Yeah.
Photography will not die.
Right.
Like people are like all worried about like, oh, photography is dead. Everybody's shooting video or they're doing something. Like we will always.
I think when they say photography's dead, they're worried about DSLR
They're thinking
style
cameras.
and that's
photography,
what it
talking
is.
about
big
cameras.
Photography
camera.
will never die.
Yeah.
Photography is just going to transcend to another thing. And I think what's happening right now is I've seen people getting very creative with this because the technical is just kind of stripped out, and it's what you see is what you get. Not to say that people watching this show are going to just like throw away their DSLR or their mirrorless.
Yeah.
But the world is becoming to that point where being creative with photography, those camera settings and those gear settings are starting to fade away.
Yeah.
And it's just so different.
Go ahead.
No,
you go, because I'm looking up something.
Well, I was on the show here before, and I was talking about my book on composition, and the way I wrote it was for any camera, including an iPhone, because really this is where we are going, you're right, which is the bulk of what a photographer should be concentrating on is how to get that amazing composition. But this also ties into creativity. So what I found was 83.
There you go. I got that same shot.
There it is.
Except my daughter is standing in that same spot.
No
I got
kidding.
Mimo
Yes.
standing in that same
I got
spot.
my
That is a
daughter
great.
standing
That's
in
my
that
wife.
same
She actually art
It's on
directed
the
it.
Orsay
very
Museum
The d'Orsay Museum
on the
in Paris.
top floor.
Yep, and it works.
It's a great shot.
It's a wonderful
and
place.
then the Montmartre is in the background. there.
Exactly, and you can look through that window and see Paris. It's
Yep,
incredible.
That's great.
So, what I did with this book is I found 83 composition, call them recipes. So, Scott, this also fits into how do I, break out of that creative rut? Well, just like a cook could follow a recipe and get some new ideas, or how you get into a song and deconstruct it, you can take those recipes and go out and shoot. They're new and different for you. Some of them are, some of the ones you've used before, like a leading line or whatever.
Yeah.
But part of it is going off in different ones and trying them out. Use your iPhone and go out and try those compositional.
Well, I'm
ones.
doing it. I've got 14,000 photos on my phone. It's a ridiculous
It's
amount
ridiculous.
of
Me
Is that
too.
all?
Yeah.
Maybe we
Me
should
too.
get some more space here.
Yeah. Well, I got 256 gig in this new one. I was looking for something I wasn't able to find, but I saw an article. I think it was yesterday, that was, and I want to say it's on Petapixel, but it was on Petapixel or F-Stoppers, where they compared a Sony AR7 III or 4, whatever they're mirrorless, with the iPhone 11 Pro. They took a picture in Norway, in Lofoten.
Yeah.
They put them side by side, and they said, "You tell me which one is which." And I'm looking at them, and I'm going, I wouldn't have bet
I've seen
$100
the
bucks.
same
You
thing
can't
where
tell.
somebody
I
did
would not say this one.
They did a Canon 1DX Mark II versus the iPhone shooting portraits. And you have to look for a very specific thing. You got to be very trained. But I'm telling you, I showed it to other people, and they make you go through the, like pick one.
Yeah.
And once you know the secret, because there's one thing, the DSLR is still got an edge over it. But most people do not.
Well,
They
no.
don't see it.
Right.
They
Yeah.
look at it and they go, that's the expensive
Well, this was a-
$10,000 camera. That's
yeah.
the expensive
It's like
And
the
they're
$10,000.
wrong.
wine tasting, It's
Yep.
people pick the wrong stuff all the time.
And you'll always pick Pizza Hut.
Always.
Pizza
You know
Hut's not
why?
bad.
Because you can't
It's
out
not
Pizza
bad.
the Hut.
It's not bad. I
Pizza
like
Hut is
Pizza Hut.
surprisingly good.
I like Pizza Hut.
It has a bad rap,
It's
but
not
their
bad.
pizzas are
Well-
actually very good.
Yeah.
You can't out Pizza the Hut.
There
You
you
can't
go.
have football without the Hut.
All right. So
Come on.
we got to take a
Scott,
break.
Work
This is
with
great.
me here.
Yeah, we got to take a break.
Really?
We got to call Pizza Hut.
All right.
I got
Hey.
some more tips too.
Oh yeah, what were you coming back?
All
I
right.
do
yeah.
want to plug somebody else here for just a moment.
Oh, yeah.
So Guy Kawasaki, who we've been
Guy.
fans of Guy's for as long as I can remember, all the way back to his days when he was an evangelist for Apple back in the
yeah.
early days.
Way back.
But Guy is an incredible businessman, a venture capitalist, a
Surfer.
thought leader,
Don't forget he surfs.
surfer. but he's also one of the best keynote and presenters, live presenters you will
Totally.
ever see. Engaging, funny, smart, witty, just great. He started a brand new podcast. It's called Remarkable People. And some of his guests are just, and Martha
Unbelievable.
Stewart on.
I know. Today, I think he just released that one.
Yeah, so anyway, if you get a chance, go check out Guy Kawasaki's brand new podcast. It's called Remarkable People. Guy is a remarkable person, and the people that he's getting are just, he had Jane Goodall.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Jane
he's
Goodall.
getting guests that are just incredible, but go check it out. We're big fans of Guy's, and I guarantee you, you will absolutely love listening to him
Totally.
and his guests. He is marvelous, a marvelous interviewer, and just a great speaker. You'll dig it. Check it out, Guy Kawasaki. We are going to take a short one. When we come back, we've got more comments. We've got some great comments, actually. And we get to hear from Ken Tony. We miss Ken. So we will see you guys on the other side. Don't go away.
Is the tripod dead? Sure, a tripod works for basic shots, but who wants to be basic? You don't need basic, you need blockbuster. And that's a job for a platypod. The platypod is your go-anywhere, do-anything flat tripod base. Its compact design helps you discover unique angles that you could never reach with a typical tripod. So, whether you're bringing up baby, driving Miss Daisy, or with your beasts of the southern wild, you can capture big-budget footage and stills for a fraction of the time and money. So go ahead, shoot the next Rocky or Birdman. Or on the waterfront, the platypod is equipped to grip uneven surfaces and hang from just about anything. When tripods go low, the platypod goes lower. Its flat base reaches the lowest possible angle, resulting in truly inventive shots that can't be replicated with traditional equipment. And if you feel like adding a dramatic overhead angle, the platypod has you covered. Just strap it or screw it in, and you're ready to go within minutes. The platypod is constructed from aircraft-grade aluminum and titanium. Yeah, the stuff Air Force One is made of. So it's durable enough to travel with you from Chinatown to Casablanca and everywhere in between. If you only take the tripod, the story ends. You wake up the next morning with nothing but basic footage. Or you could take the platypod to a museum, or on an elevator, or strap it to a tree, or hanging on a bench at church, or put it on the ground and get incredible blockbuster footage. Who are we kidding? You should totally take the platypod. The tripod is not dead, but it needs a sidekick. The platypod.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey everybody, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Mark and Eric, and we've got some more comments for you today. I do have a couple other little things. We got some giveaways today.
Yeah.
We are giving away a fabulous Platypod Ultra. You know, I got a thank you letter literally in the regular mail, handwritten from someone who won one of these on the grid, and they were so thrilled, and all it was very nice.
Their life
They
probably
sent me-
changed.
Yeah, they sent me anyway. So you already seen their ad here, and we're going to be giving one of these away. We're going to be giving
Speaking
away
of creativity,
a
Platypod Ultra.
copy of my latest book. It is the Natural Light Portrait book. And, well, that's it right there. And the publisher of the book, don't focus on
There you go.
There you go. Focus on the book, not on me. Hi. That's me behind, out of focus.
Yeah. Depth of
Anyway, so my publisher is running a deal on this, because if you go to Amazon, it's pretty expensive on Amazon. It's not pretty expensive, but it's not as cheap as the deal I'm about to tell you. So my publisher, Rocky Nook, has a 40% off deal on this book. I've got a code for you. The code is, ready? 2020, that's pretty easy, PP40. So 2020, PP40, and it's not PP like wee, it's just the letters P and P. So 2020 PP40.
2020 PP40. 2020 PP40.
I was just going to wrap. I'm not going to do it to you. Go to rockynook.com. Rockynook.com, 2020 PP40. If you don't own this book, get it. It's been for the last month the #1 new release in photography.
Bingo.
It's on all kinds of all the top lists, top 3 or whatever. Go check it out. I think you'll like it. I've read some of the reviews. It's getting great reviews. So I'm very excited.
And you can get it cheaper than on Amazon over there.
And you can get it. Thank you. You get it cheaper than you can get it on Amazon, which is crazy. So that's from our friends at Rocky Nook. All right. What else?
I have
something
a code
else.
too. Can I throw that out?
You got a code? Yeah.
I have a code for you guys on the grid. So
code us up.
I was talking about composition. We just released a composition course based on that book. And there's a code. There it is.
That's it. The secrets to amazing photos.
Put in grid and you'll save $70.
Whoa, that's like half price.
Yeah, it's basically half price. That's, and this is, again, how to unlock your composition. It teaches you those 83 compositional points, and that's what it takes to, unlock your creativity, is know those other things. Don't plagiarize yourself all the time. Get out there and use something different.
I do like that, plagiarize yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of cool,
the same
isn't
thing
it?
you've always done. Hey, I wanted to read this comment from Ken Tony. So Ken Tony's a long-time friend and a great photographer. Lives up in I believe, South Carolina. Doesn't Ken live in South Carolina?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, and he has a great comment here. He said, I asked Joe McNally about 5 years ago while I was in a rut what would help. He said to go to a small coffee shop or a diner and do a story. Take photos and talk to people about how they got started, etc. He says, it sounds crazy, but it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
What great advice, Joe, and good on Ken for following it.
That's actually
Joe
number 10 on my
always
list.
comes down to something basic and simple that you can just go out and do. That's the key right there.
That was great.
Can I tell you another thing?
Please
that
do.
Will increase creativity by 60%. Listen to this. Simple. There was a study done in 2014 at Stanford University, and they found that by taking a walk, you actually can increase your creativity by 60%. They took a group and they left some of them in the computer. Yeah, it's amazing. Some of them
Number 8
just
on my list.
stayed on their computer,
Right there.
kept, their minds all bogged into this machine, and they took the other half and sent them out on a walk, and they tested them for creativity, and they found the guys who took a walk, the people who took a walk, were 60% more creative. It's so simple that people can
That is so
forget.
great.
Isn't
That's
that
why
cool?
a lot of times around the office we're taking walks.
What
So,
they don't tell
yeah.
you, though, is you have to walk 14 miles.
Well, there's
And
that
swing
part,
your
too.
arms really. You gotta swing them. No?
No. The
That's
other cool
great.
thing is
I got to do that.
everybody should do that because we've got to get away from these electronic devices. They can be
hate electronic
They can be a
devices.
brain drain. Get out there and look
They're
at
the
trees.
worst. Stop watching the grid, whatever you do.
Yeah, as soon as we're done, you can.
Oh,
Stop.
yeah, as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
Then one.
But get out there and walk. Take your iPhone with you and practice too. You can put these things together.
Well, and to those points, I've got a couple here, but to those points, but one there was go into an environment and just be open and aware of the environment that's around you,
Yeah.
and stop and look around first. I think a lot of photographers walk into an environment and immediately grab their camera, immediately start shooting.
Totally.
Now, there's times in life where photojournalism, I'm covering an event, like the press conference is going on. I don't have time to soak in the environment. But most of the time in life, you're out there and you're kind of like, let it soak in. Don't stick your tripod down and just start shooting.
Totally.
Like, look for stuff. And then on those lines, another thing to get more creative is become an expert. Know your subject. It will allow you to be.
Research.
People think that, oh, well, that's not being creative. Like, that's more like technical or something like that. But I'm telling you, when you start knowing what you're shooting, like, for example, sports is a big one.
Yeah.
Where if you know the sport, you can start predicting it. I've got to the point where I can predict how a rocket will act and how a rocket will respond and what will happen. And so much so that we have programs that we can see the trajectories and the physics. Why? Because it'll allow me to be more creative. You'll think, oh, well, you're being technical. No. What it helps is when you get out on the shoot, or when you get out to the environment, it's the same thing with a landscape. If you know where the sun's going to set,
that's right.
You know where the moon's going to rise, you know where these things are going to happen, you can adapt to situations. You might walk out into a situation and see that, hey, today it's going to be better over here. Why? Because I know what's going to happen later.
Yeah.
I know, or even your portrait photographer or a child photographer, knowing those subjects, how to adapt or how to deal with them.
Yeah, knowing how people are going to react.
Yeah, I mean,
to
it goes to
lines.
anything. You really, knowing your subject is like, it will make you more creative. I swear.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, it will make you more creative.
And along with that, like say for landscapes or even portraiture, if you know what the weather is going to do, listen, blue skies don't make the best photograph. You want a moody, cloudy sky.
Interesting, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That adds interest.
And then
and
know
depth.
when there is a blue sky and I have to shoot, how I need to adapt.
What am I going to do with that?
How I have to adapt to those settings. Because then I go, well, one, maybe if you're a landscape photographer, just stay home, sleep in,
do something different.
else.
Get Luminar for sky replacement.
Go get a sky, go shoot it in the sky and replace it in post. There you go.
But yeah, using what you know about the subject or the environment to trigger what you can do to turn it on its head. That's really important. For sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got a couple other comments here coming in. So Marcus was saying, I recently took a photo with my OnePlus 6 phone that ended up being the main shot of my university's website.
Nice.
Our phone cameras are becoming so good.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's what it is. It's that it's a tool. It's a tool, and if it's in the right moment and you've got that tool with you, you're going to take that shot and you get something out of it.
Hey, Eric, Tom's asking, where can you purchase that additional lens thing that you've got?
So this is from a company I've been following. It's Shift Cam is the name of the company. It was a Kickstarter. Now they have it on their website. They released it after the first of the year. I think it opened up to everybody. I got it around Christmas time. So.
Hey, speaking of Kickstarter, next week we have a very, 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 very interesting show. We have the team here from Platypod, and we're doing a show called The Anatomy of a Kickstarter. And we don't really want to tell you any more than that, but I will tell you this. You definitely want to watch the grid next Wednesday.
Yeah, there might be a Kickstarter. Who knows?
You never know. It could happen. But next Wednesday, it is important for you to watch. Write it down now. Put it in your book. Next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Now, also, we will be blowing up large pictures of Mark to have all around the show. So when he's not here, you'll still feel like he's
stoked.
here. You are stoked. You're always stoked.
I'm from California.
Dude, I meet few people that love life more than you do. You have a great time in life.
Well, why not? Isn't it better to have a great time than a lousy time?
Yes.
It's our life.
Yes, it is.
How about using creativity in your own life? Originally, I was going to call this book The Art of Living because I wanted to emphasize the idea that creativity isn't just about photography or music or painting. It's really about creating your whole life. Now, here's a tip, how to improve your life, how to improve your creativity. Listen to this. I am really big on journaling. And, it's interesting. I heard this conversation with Tim Ferriss and Chase Jarvis. And Tim Ferriss said, and I put it in my book, that he interviewed lots of very creative people, and he found one thing they had in common, which is something I do, is that they study something first thing every day. Whatever it is, it inspires them. It gets their brain unlocked from all the crud that, you ran into the previous day, and you get a whole new viewpoint. But what I do is I study stuff, and then I have right next to me, I have a journal. You get those flashes of inspiration, you got to write them down. You got to remember them. And then even if you don't ever read those pages again, it's there. You have taken that moment and put it into your little book, and it actually spawns the rest of your day. It sparks creativity for the rest of your day, and it spawns new ideas. Something that simple. I'm a big believer in journaling. I mean, I have
How much do you journal when you journal?
2-3 pages maybe at the
Oh,
most.
that's pretty good.
Sometimes a paragraph. It doesn't really matter. It's not the quantity. It's the fact that you took whatever that inspiration was and put it down on paper. And if you don't, they tend to just fly away and you forget about them.
Yeah.
Right?
I write ideas down, but I don't journal. Like I
do a lot of notes and outlines.
Yeah, I do
That's
stuff
what
like
I'm
that.
calling journaling.
Notes.
I don't mean, dear diary kind of thing, but
okay.
You read an article and you thought, wow,
Yeah,
that's
that's very important.
Okay,
That's
I
really
just write
cool.
I do a lot
That's
of
what I mean
that.
by
I
Like
do
my
a lot of
notes
that.
are just full.
Mine too.
Stuff.
Mine
Yeah.
too.
Full
All
of
kinds of
notes.
stuff.
Yeah. I also take pictures and I put them in my Evernote. And if I'm looking at a book and a book on art or photography, and I go, wow, that is a really cool picture, I'll take a picture of it just to remember it, just again for inspiration.
All right, so that's the second half of my thing, and we're going to do that coming up next as we wrap up the show. We got our giveaways, and I have the second half. I've been holding it the whole show.
Holding it.
Second half of my tip.
Which is? Oh, you
I can't
have
tell you. I
the
have to save
whole
it.
time.
I've been holding it.
Hi, I'm Ibadi NX Perella, and I'm here in downtown Los Angeles. Have you ever been out on a busy street scene and you get out there and there's so much going on, you just don't know where to start? You get really frustrated, you make some snapshots, but they're so lackluster. Well, what I'm gonna teach you are the very secrets that I use all the time to make great photographs from some of the most ordinary scenes imaginable. You'll learn in this class how, by just carefully observing and watching things sort of play out in front of you, visual miracles can happen just as a result of you just staying in place and seeing life play out in front of you. And this class is for more than just people interested in street photography. This is a way of how you see the world. So come check out my class and learn something brand new.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
Erik and Mark, and we are talking about how to jumpstart your creativity, basically, how to be more creative in 2020. First off is, if you happen to be into design, check out Dave Clayton's new book. Dave Clayton's got a brand new book. It's called How Do I Do That in InDesign? It is awesome. Dave is awesome. And whoop, boom, there it is right there. So go check it out. It is on Amazon and wherever fine books are sold, Barnes & Noble and all those great places. So go check it out. Dave's brand new book. It is so good. So good. Next, I did want to mention, so Mark gave us a code earlier for a 50% discount off of his already discounted course. So it's an incredible deal. There it is right there.
Yeah.
And that's at your website?
It's on my website. Go to, store there and you'll see it.
So just go to marksilber.com?
Silber Studios.
Or Silber Studios.
Silberstudios.com. I think it's on the screen there.
All right. And then the code is the word GRID in all caps.
All caps.
GRID, and that will get you the 50%
You get $70 off of it.
So Mark Heaps, let me tell you about Mark Heaps. Can I tell you about Mark Heaps?
Yeah,
You know Mark
please.
Heaps?
I don't.
You should know Mark Heaps.
Okay.
Number one.
Nice name.
Super guy, Photoshop wizard, incredible bass player. He's a really interesting guy to know.
Okay, those are
really,
good
really
things.
good guy. He says the best tip for creativity: learn how to be an inspired person. Look for reasons to be inspired about other things. All these pros will talk passionately about almost anything they've learned. They love learning. He's true. There's Mark right there.
Yeah.
They love learning. That's what
Look
I
at
was
that.
saying.
Design plus communication specialist. That is him.
Yeah.
And he looks cool too. He's got a cool look.
It's cool look.
He's got a cool vibe.
Got the glasses.
He looks like he could surf.
It's a Blues Brothers look.
He is a Blues
You know,
Brothers
with a
look,
beard.
the sunglasses and
Yeah.
the beard. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Mark.
We got
that is good.
Comment from Kevin saying there's a feeling of composition intent I get when I'm holding it. I hold a camera that I do not get when I use my phone. For me,
you know, Kevin, I would have to agree.
I know what he's talking about.
I'm used to looking through a viewfinder, but I will tell you, since I went with my mirrorless camera, and I wind up shooting
it's a rewiring
live view more, like when I'm on a tripod, because I've been doing a lot of landscape and stuff. I don't have that issue that I used to have, and I think it is a learned thing. Like you get really comfortable with you know, composing inside the viewfinder, and now I'm getting much more. But I think it's because of my EOS mirrorless is why I am more comfortable.
I think it's a mindset too.
It is. It's a mindset.
You have to lock into it because you go, okay, let's face it. There's many different kinds of cameras you can shoot with, and it's just a tool. But if you view it like I'm being a photographer, I'm in the zone. I'm going to use my iPhone. Great, okay.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to use a Hasselblad. What's the difference? It's just a different
The
tool.
Hasselblad's really hard to use.
It's heavy, and you got to go develop.
You better
the
know your modes.
And you got to know your
settings, and you better know your.
But the
everything.
point is that you do have to get in the zone and not just be a snapshot.
No, you're right.
And I think that's where maybe with that scenario, like, just like give it a couple times where you go out and you don't take your camera, but you go with the intent of being a photographer, because I think that's what it comes down to.
Intent.
I used to, and even when I hand it to photographers, you hand your camera, they kind of just like point it up and hit the button. And then there's other photographers
because they dismiss it. Oh, it's just my phone.
Yeah.
It's not my real camera.
They're using it as a snapshot tool, right? They're using it as just a recording history snapshot.
Yeah.
But how we use our cameras is we have intent with it, where we're composing, we're making sure we have the shot. If you start doing that with your phone, it'll be just like your DSLR.
Hey, in Calibra's iPhone course, is the first thing she says. She says one of my biggest tips is intent. If you start to think of it as a real camera and you treat it as a real camera, you will take real shots. But if you dismiss it, if you just go, oh, it's just, you know, it's not my real camera, so it doesn't matter what it looks like, you're going to wind up with that kind of photo.
You know, I think this leads us into probably one of the biggest tips about creativity, and that is purpose and intent. Because if you go out with the purpose, I am a photographer, and my intent is to tell this story or come away with a great photograph. I'm on assignment, even if the assignment is from me, and I'm going to come back with the goods just like a pro does. That's the mindset, right? Because a pro has to come back with the goods. You have to come back with those images, right? There's no choice. But we have to carry
they're not
that.
They're not going to like it if you don't.
You have to carry that into your own photography. You have a purpose and you have an intent and you make it happen.
Yep.
You know, probably a third of the photographs in this book were shot with an iPhone.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, they're in there. And it works just like a regular camera, even easier.
Hey, I'm going to give the second half of my thing.
All right,
Let's
go
hear
for
it.
it.
We've been sitting on the edge of our chair.
Well, the reason I'm going to say is because Joseph just put a comment in there that is actually exactly what my comment is. So Joseph Bruno is going to back me up on this. So what I was going to say was one of the things that I've done that helps me when I'm on location, right? And like tomorrow, for example, when I want to shoot a particular look or a particular thing, I will go to Pinterest.
Yeah.
I will make a private board and I will go and look at other photos, not that I want to copy, but the style of what I'm trying to create. So I might have 40 beauty headshots, or I might have 40 landscapes or whatever that are inspirational. So when I'm there and I want to kind of get in the zone, I do get inspired by looking at other photographers' works. I'm not stealing them.
No.
I'm not trying to make their same shot because I don't have their same subject. I don't have the same hair, makeup, or any of those things. I'm not in the same location. I can't steal their photo. But I am
we're all
inspired.
doing that.
Well,
We're
I know to some extent.
inspiring. We're
Right.
using it as a component.
But I'm like, this is getting me in the zone by looking at them, and I keep
that's
them.
an awesome tool.
I keep them on my phone in the Pinterest app,
Yeah.
and I look at them while I'm in the middle of the shoot, and I'm like, wow, yeah, this gets me. And also, sometimes I can look and go, I like this kind of lighting, and I like this kind of composition, and ooh, I should try getting a little tighter like this, and you're not going to make their same photo. You don't have their same subject.
You don't need to,
period.
but it's like looking at a cooking show and getting inspired, right?
Right,
Or
and
listening to
that's
music.
what Joseph Bruno
Yeah.
says. I used to keep what we called a steal file,
Yeah.
work from magazines that we liked that we would try to duplicate.
I do that with Evernote because I can take the picture and it stores it right in Evernote.
I gave up on Evernote.
I still use it. I mean,
Because Apple's Notes app, which is free,
does it do the same thing?
It does pretty much all
Okay.
it.
Same
You can
thing.
put photos in there. It does all.
It really
it's
doesn't
like
matter as long as you have a
free
convenient
Evernote.
way. But no, Scott, that's what we started out talking about, is that getting that inspiration and you use it in your own work.
And don't think that, so a lot of times people that can be highly creative in those moments without looking at a pad or looking at it, it's implanted in their brain is all. Some people have images that they can like sear in their brain and they can see stuff. So it's not like
It's not me.
It's not like you're
You got it on-
they're unique. Their brain's wired different, where they got that visual storage device.
Yeah, my brain does not have a visual storage device.
Yeah.
But what's weird is two things. Number one, how I was able to take one tip and stretch it through my whole show.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty
Number
amazing.
two is that this was actually very helpful to me, this
There you go.
episode. Thank both of you guys.
Hey.
I got one other one.
It has made me think about some things.
I
it's
got one
good,
other
Scott.
one because I think this is on my list, and this is one that's cool because I think if you do this, it could make you money, right? And it could help you with
Inspiration,
your creativity.
creativity, and money
Right,
all
right.
together in the same
So,
place.
I was just talking to a friend the other day where he's saying, I really just need like an inspiring project for this year, but I can't spend the time on it because a lot of times time equals money and all this stuff. So why not, if you're looking for something to get creative about, like take for the next year and every day give yourself a quick assignment to shoot one photo for stock.
Brilliant.
So at the end of the year, you would have 365 or
Stock
so
photos.
stock photos, but each day kind of just give yourself like, I will make a stock photo today. And just start kind of maybe venturing out. And some days you're going to put more effort into it. Some days you're just going to shoot like a sign that says caution, but it might
It's a
sell
stock-
on stock
it's a
photo,
stock photo.
and stuff. But it would
Not
get
a
you
bad
starting
idea.
to like look around the world and saying, what could be a stock photo? What
That's a
could
good
be?
one.
And
That
it would
could
start
work.
like getting. So, anyways, my friend was like, "Yeah, you know what? I should probably do that." And I'm thinking about doing it too because I'm like, "Yeah, that could be pretty cool." Like, it would help my creativity every day. It would give me again more stock photos in my stock photo library. You just go on Adobe Stock. You can watch Terry White's class on Kelby One. Set
Yeah.
up your Adobe Stock account
Boom.
and just start doing it. And some days you might find yourself shooting 5 or 6 photos, but just shoot one every day.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I like it.
We got winners. We got winners for the book and the platypod. So the book goes to Veronica and Rover. So she's got my brand new natural light photography book, and Ven McAndrew won
Nice.
the Ultra Platypod, or actually it's called the Platypod Ultra.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you both for winning. We will contacting you through the chat, and we will be sending those to you no matter where you live, as long as you don't live in Tampa. Okay, and that pretty much wraps up our show. Before we go, a couple of important things. First, Mark, where can people learn more about you?
The best place is go to silberstudios.com. You're going to see all my different links. You can find me on YouTube. You just type in my name, Mark Silber. Make sure you spell it M-A-R-C.
Yep,
S-I-L-B-E-R.
Silber.
Silber. Same thing in Amazon. You can find my books on Amazon. Just type my name in, Mark Silber. Those are the easiest ways to find me. Same thing on Instagram, Mark Silber. It's easy. Just use my name.
There you go. Mr. Kuna, where can people go see rocket stuff?
Well, they can go to my website or my Instagram. It's always Erik Kuna, so E-R-I-K-K-U-N-A. So Erik Kuna on Instagram, erikkuna.com, Erik Kuna on
You do
Twitter.
the same thing.
Whatever. It's just E-R-I-K-K-U-N-A. So that's my website, that's my Instagram, that's my Twitter, that's all that stuff.
And make sure that while you're on his Instagram page, you're singing Kuna Man.
We're gonna work on that one.
Fuse out here.
Yep, definitely.
All right,
Definitely
It
gotta
is
do
time to wrap things up. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Mark, thank you for
Scott, my
being on the show.
pleasure,
Number
Eric.
3, your third time.
Boom.
Great.
Yeah. Do I
Thanks for
get a
coming.
special medal or something?
On the 5th time, you get a jacket,
Yeah.
but it's not a nice one.
I'll be back next week.
All right.
We're gonna rock
All right.
this.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks to our crew here
Thank
at
you.
Kelby One. We'll catch you guys next week. Big show next week.
Creativity
Big show.
2020. Okay, want to hear about it.
Boom.
Yep.